Hey folks, Papa Boris here, playing some more leaders. We're up against Nethian, and this is a higher rated player than my previous two opponents, or three opponents at this point, so we'll see if we get into a bit of a trickier game this time. Alright, I am second here. We've got the Claw Launcher, who can pull an enemy up to him, or any character up to them, because is it enemies? Yeah, it's just visible character, yes, who can pull himself up to any character or pull any character up to him, which is very, very potent combination of abilities. And my opponent will take the Claw Launcher. All right, so at this point, I need to definitely get out of line of sight of the Claw Launcher, and I'll put myself opposite my opponent's leader. We're going to be a little frisky today because we're going to grab the Vizier. And it's a very aggressive character. You know, you can use your leader to go whap, and then, you know, maybe surprise checkmate your opponent. I'll put the Vizier over here. Actually, I don't know where to put him because my opponent can put the leader in front of the Claw Launcher, and then I can't chase with my own leader. I know, it's fine. I'll put the Vizier here because maybe my opponent will move into the middle, and the Vizier can try to get him. I mean, this space is no further from this space than this space is, so like it's fine either way. And yes, we got a little bit of a tough collection of characters here. I guess we'll grab the Brewmaster just because the Brewmaster does offer some chances for trickiness, as we saw in the last game, although I'm a little bit bummed I did not get something more exciting. I have to be careful I can't put him there because then the Clawmaster can just shoot up and that would potentially be problematic. But yeah, let's go ahead and just stick the Brewmaster on the opposite side and we'll slowly bring it in. Alright, we got the Royal Guard here, so I could go rip and then like put the Royal Guard in front and go rip, but then of course I still need to get one more character next to the enemy leader, so could be a little bit tricky to do that. Alright, there's my opponent puts the leader in front of the Claw. But then also moves the Claw. Alright, I guess that's fine with me. And my opponent takes the Royal Guard, so unfortunately I do not get to do the whole Vizier, jump into the leader, use the Royal Guard business. I also have to be watchful of the fact that my opponent can move the leader up, put the Royal Guard in front of him, and then just go right here and be right next to my own leader, which could cause some problems. So what I'm going to do here is I'll definitely be grabbing the Manipulator. I think that could be a fun character to use. The question is, do I allow my opponent to basically just plonk his Royal Guard right in front of my leader? And I think the answer is probably no thanks. So I'll move the leader over here, kind of keeping a bit of distance from the enemy leader. My opponent could still get the Royal Guard. Like if he goes leader here, he can go Royal Guard, teleport here, and then move here. So it's still not great. But at least I can put another piece in front. And now, yes, I think I am going to grab the Manipulator. And yeah, I think I'm going to be respectful of the fact that my opponent has this Royal Guard advance move. So I'll stick the Manipulator there. The Manipulator is not being very manipulaty in this spot. But at least it gives me the opportunity to just put a piece in front, in between my leader and the Royal Guard, while also moving the Brewmaster up. Oh, my opponent's really advancing with that leader, which makes sense. I don't have a whole lot of fast movement, though my leader himself could potentially jump in there if my opponent gets any closer. Okay, so my opponent's playing this game, huh? All right, very, very aggressive, which I respect. I love aggressive gameplay, but this is where it's really helpful that I have the Vizier, because I could use the Vizier to just make my leader run away really easily. All right, I have a couple of options here. I could use the Manipulator to push the Royal Guard aside. That is an option. But I think what I would rather do is just use the Manipulator to kind of block the Royal Guard. And we're going to have my leader just run into this corner. I don't really see a point in sticking around here. All right, we'll also have my Vizier get next to the enemy leader. Now, the Claw guy could use his Claw thing on my Vizier, but I don't really care about that. Although I could just do this. I could accomplish the same thing by going there. No, I like this. I like this because the Claw can pull himself up to the Vizier, but that's just the same as moving. Or pull me up, but that's the same as putting me next to the leader, which is what I want anyways. Yeah, I think I'm just fine with being here. This is completely fine with me. Now, do I want the Brewmaster to move? Well, I think I'm going to keep the Brewmaster here for the simple reason that from here I am threatening checkmate. I can Brewmaster my leader there, and then run my leader in there, and then with the Vizier checkmate. It's not much of a threat, because this Acrobat, or this Wanderer, actually can just, like, step forward. Then it would become illegal for my leader to stand there. But the Wanderer can jump to any any space that's not adjacent to an enemy. So the Wanderer could just, like, leap, for example, right here, or right here, and be close to my leader. So if my opponent plays aggressively, I mean, that is a legitimate checkmate threat. So yeah, we'll just end the turn here. And then as for what I take, well, I could use the Jailer to try to block adjacent enemies from using their powers. Or I could use the Protector to prevent the opponent from moving any of my adjacent allies. The Assassin, I think, is a bit of a stretch. I don't think I'm going to pull off any assassinations here. Fine, we'll take the Jailer just for some protection. The question is, where do I put him? I kind of want my opponent to just, like, forget about the checkmate. But even if they forget about the checkmate and move the Wanderer away somewhere aggressive, the king could just step back a space. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this so I can step up to the Royal Guard and prevent the Royal Guard from teleporting. And just placing this here limits where the Wanderer can land. So the Wanderer can't land here next to my leader. Now, if the Wanderer wants to go here, that's fine. I can put the Brewmaster in between the Wanderer and the leader. Although, I'm not really loving my situation here. Yeah, so my opponent is going to do it. Now, they do need to move their leader back or they lose the game. So they have to be a little bit careful about that. They need to move the leader back to this space to avoid being checkmated. Okay, no, never mind. My opponent found another way to stop the checkmate. Now, my leader can't stand here either. Because it would then be next to the opponent's leader and next to the Royal Guard. And my opponent takes for his final selection the Nemesis. Oh, it's a very interesting character. So if you move your lead, so the Nemesis can't move, but the Nemesis makes it so that if your opponent's leader moves, then the Nemesis must move 2 spaces. And end on a new space, so they can't just move forwards and backwards. All right, so now I have to be very careful because I cannot actually move my leader without the Nemesis getting up to me. A bit of a tricky situation here for sure. So the Brewmaster can only move allies, so I cannot move the Royal Guard with the Brewmaster, unfortunately. I could just move my leader twice and let my opponent move his Nemesis twice. But generally what I found that you want to do when your opponent takes the Nemesis is just try not to move your leader, because if you don't move your leader, then your opponent has a piece that they can never move. So basically I'm saying, well, my leader's here and I'm just stuck with it. So here what I'm going to do is protect my leader like this. My Illusionist and my Brewmaster aren't really doing a whole lot of their abilities. I will also... it's a bit of a problem because the Royal Guard can now come in and threaten to suffocate my leader. I might need to move. Anyways. Oh, crud. Well, if I have to move, I have to move. And then we'll just let the Nemesis do what the Nemesis does. So I'm going to move my Jailer up so that my leader has a way to run out this way. And then we'll stick my Vizier here just to kind of form a wall and prevent the Nemesis from being able to breach it. In fact, should I just run now? Maybe if I was going to run now, I would have needed to play a different turn. But if I run now, the Royal Guard can step up, and then the Acrobat can jump over. So maybe what I want to do is just end the action phase here. Because this way, after my opponent moves the Royal Guard, then I can run with my leader after moving the Brewmaster so that my opponent doesn't have the option to jump with... Oh, wait, the Wanderer is not the Acrobat. I got confused. Uh-oh. The Wanderer is the one who can move to any non-adjacent space. Any space that's not adjacent to an enemy. So I don't need to worry about jumping. That was definitely a mistake. I should have just moved my leader. Okay, so right now, my opponent's really got me surrounded here because if I don't do anything, then the Royal Guard can move in here and suffocate my leader. But if I move one of these pieces so my leader's not suffocated, the Wanderer can just step in and win that way. So I'm in a little bit of a pickle. So I'm going to have to let my opponent move with the Nemesis. First, I'm going to move the Vizier here so that my opponent's Nemesis cannot break through this line, and then I'm going to make a run for it. The question is, do I want to move 2 spaces or 1 space? And I guess we might as well go 2 spaces. Just get as far away as possible from this suffocating corner. Yeah, maybe my drafting choices weren't the best, because this manipulator is just a blank piece. Who knows? Maybe I could have used a different piece, a different character, and actually done some stuff with them. All right, so my opponent moves the Nemesis close to their leader for a little bit of extra protection, which makes sense. So now I need to decide how I'm moving my other pieces. I guess I will just step up with the jailer. And the question is if I want to use my manipulator to go into this crevice or not. The thing is, my opponent's king is very, very safe. My opponent has really good king safety here. So I don't really see the point of moving this manipulator up. But if I do move the manipulator up, then the acrobat, or the wanderer, sorry, can just step in here. So maybe it would make sense to leave the manipulator here, just use him as a blocker. And the brewmaster, though, is really doing nothing over here. So I'll just push the brewmaster up a little bit and see if we can sneak around the Nemesis and try to get the leader from here. All right, so we're getting our first real slugfest. This is a game where neither player was able to win decisively early on. I think my opponent definitely has the advantage here. But my opponent does have this Nemesis who cannot move unless I move my leader. So I may be able to stall the game out because my opponent's essentially missing a piece if I can get my leader to be safe. My opponent uses the Wanderer to jump over here. So now my leader is threatened with checkmate, which means I need to be a little bit careful. And I am going to have to let the Nemesis move, unfortunately. All right, the Claw takes a step up. Interestingly, this does let my Vizier assault the leader. So I am kind of curious about this because it does seem like my opponent's giving me some opportunities that weren't strictly necessary. Now I can move my jailer and my Vizier really close to the enemy piece. Yeah, let's just go ahead and put the jailer here. And let's put the Vizier here. So now the question is, do I want to use this manipulator to manipulate the claw launcher? My thinking is that if I put the claw launcher here, then the claw launcher is not able to step in and just block my jailer from moving into the next to the opponent's leader. So I think it's actually a pretty good idea. Of course, it's a little bit risky because my own leader is not feeling the greatest at the moment. But my thinking here is I'm going to take the brewmaster and put him, let's say, here. So that now when my leader makes a run for it, where do I want to run? Okay, not here or here because I'll still be in checkmate. It needs to be here or here. Wait a minute. Hold up. That's not right. I think I need to put my brewmaster here to stop the claw launcher from getting in this way. Yeah, we'll try it like this. I'm going to put my leader there in the corner. Now my opponent's Royal Guard cannot suffocate me. And yes, the Nemesis can move, but the Nemesis then can't move again. So I'm hoping that it just works out in my favor. But it's a little bit tight in here. That is definitely a risk. Oh yeah, my leader might actually get suffocated this way. I might have messed up. I could very well have messed up here. So the good news is that the Nemesis can't actually move. The Nemesis cannot threaten my leader. So I could still keep my leader alive by like just doing nothing basically because my opponent can't actually get in here. Now my opponent was a very savvy player here. He made a very smart move. My opponent put the claw guy right there, and the reason for that is that if my opponent hadn't done this, I could have moved up with my Vizier, moved up with my jailer, and used my manipulator to move the jailer up next to the opponent's leader. Oh no, never mind. It's not adjacent enemy. That's just an aggressive move, I guess. Yeah, I could not have used my manipulator to move my jailer. All right, so what I'm going to do here is just kind of play it sort of stupid. We're going to just go here. And we're also going to just move the jailer up here. So now we're simply threatening to checkmate the leader. And I just need to make sure that I don't, you know, lose the game. And I think I'm okay because the Nemesis can't move. The claw can't... Well, the claw can pull my vizier back. So maybe what I'll do is something like... let's make the claw go over here. Actually, this is actually the best place. Let's make the claw go up here. So now the claw can't pull my vizier... Oh, no, wait a minute. The claw can just get in the way. That's incredibly stupid. Well, okay, almost lost the game there. Okay, we need to pull the claw over here. So now the claw cannot pull off my vizier, and the claw can also not move in. So I'm threatening checkmate. My opponent maybe could use the Wanderer to jump here. And then... Oh yeah, no, my opponent can just run with the leader. The leader just runs here, and my opponent's leader is then totally safe. So the question is, do I need to do anything to stop myself from getting checkmated? And I don't think I do. I think I can just give chase with my Brewmaster, although then the claw can pull himself up to the Brewmaster. Yeah, we'll just end the action phase. This is fine. So now my opponent can run with the leader one more turn, and if I can survive one turn myself, then I'll win the game. Maybe there's some tricks my opponent can do with the claw, pulling up the guard and moving in with the Wanderer or something like this. Oh, you know what I totally forgot? My opponent has the Protector who can just teleport in here and completely save the leader. Oopsie, that was a mistake. I should have definitely seen that coming, and I totally missed it. All right, 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to wake up my wife for a dentist appointment. Okay, so my opponent, interestingly, decided to keep the Royal Guard here and send the Wanderer back, which is very reasonable. My opponent put the claw in a threatening position. All right, I think we're going to go big or go home here. Sorry, I'm out of breath because I was running up and down the stairs. We are just going to shove the jailer up. We are going to press the Brewmaster in. I think I have to do this because if the enemy leader runs, then I need to make sure that I can close in with a different character. I am going to manipulate the claw. The question is where. If I put the claw launcher here, the claw launcher can just zoom up to the manipulator. If I put the claw here, they can pull the jailer off of me. So you know what? We're gonna go big and go home here. I'm gonna put the claw here, because I don't think the claw moving in here actually makes a difference. I don't think it does. So we're just gonna do it, although I hope I'm not wrong about that. I now need to decide if I want to move the vizier. Do I care about the enemy leader moving this way? I don't think so. I think we're fine with... All right, I think I do care. I think I want to make sure the leader is right there. We end the turn. Hope to God I'm not missing something. And now it seems like the enemy leader either gets checkmated or suffocated. It would appear that way. I don't feel 100% confident about it, but we're going to do our best. Okay, so they use the Royal Guard to jump in there. Now, I think I still win because I can suffocate the leader over here. This is the question. Did I overlook some kooky way that my opponent can protect themselves? No, they concede. Whew, good game, my friend. Very well played. So, yeah, that was an exciting game of leaders. That's how it can go. It wasn't too grindy. A lot of my thinking time here was, of course, while I was talking and stuff. So it would have been like probably a 10-minute game if I were just playing by myself. So a lot of tense tactics and action-packed goodness in a very short amount of time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Take care, everybody.